A 17-year-old mother, Melissa Collins, tucked her infant daughter, Jasmine, into a stroller and left their Westwood Avenue apartment in Akron for what should have been a simple walk to the grocery store. They never returned. The only person to claim he saw them leave, Raymond Sweet Pea Smith Jr., a neighbor, died by suicide 6 months later. No one knows what happened that August night in 1991. What happened to Melissa and baby Jasmine? This is not just another missing person story. The last man to claim he saw Melissa and baby Jasmine leave their home, Raymond Sweet Pea Smith Jr., was a known violent offender who allegedly made Melissa uneasy. He died by suicide 6 months after their disappearance, leaving only a cryptic note. Police never had the chance to question him. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this missing mother and her child have haunted Akron for over 30 years, the unsolved questions, the stretched police timelines, and a silence nobody can explain. Melissa Collins was just 17 years old, still a child in many ways, yet already a mother. Described by her family as trusting and responsible, she relied on her mother for rides, never had a driver's license, and always called home daily, even when she briefly ran away while expecting Jasmine. Melissa was biracial, with brown hair, brown eyes, glasses perched gently on her nose, small details that made her unmistakably herself. She had a scar on her upper left arm, wore a gold chain necklace and a nose ring, personal touches that connected her to her identity. And then there was little Jasmine. Just months old in August 1991, she depended entirely on her mother. The apartment told a story, bottles of formula already prepared, diapers stacked within reach, clothes folded from the day before. Everything pointed to a return that never came. Melissa's mother has said it over and over, "My daughter would never have left without Jasmine. She wouldn't walk away without essentials, of her baby or herself." Yet that's precisely what seemed to have happened on a warm evening in West Akron. Akron, Ohio, August 8, 1991. It was a summer day that should have ended like any other in the modest Westwood Avenue neighborhood. At 4 p.m., Melissa Collins, just 17, was dropped off at her apartment with her infant daughter, Jasmine, after a brief visit with her mother. This apartment on the 100 block of Westwood Avenue was their small haven. 4 blocks away stood the local grocery store, a short walk that Melissa made often. At approximately 7:30 p.m., they stepped out together, heading toward the store on foot. It was routine. Just another errand for a young mother stocking up for her baby. According to missing child records, Jasmine required medication for asthma, another reason Melissa kept formula prepared and diapers stocked at home. But that evening, something went terribly wrong. The trip never ended. There was no return, no call, no trace of either mother or child. It was a normal night. But when the darkness settled, Akron lost 2 of its own. When evening turned to night, there was no call, no word, just silence. The next day, Melissa's mother, unsettled by the quiet, made her way to the apartment on Westwood Avenue. What she found would deepen the mystery in an instant. Inside, everything was frozen in time. Melissa's purse still lay untouched in the bedroom. Laundry lay freshly washed and folded. The fridge was stocked with bottles of formula already prepared. Diapers sat in neat stacks. Her last welfare check remained uncashed. There was no indication Melissa intended to leave. The apartment felt staged, not empty as if abandoned, but as if someone had walked out, momentarily. This was no sign of a criminal packing, like in a hurry. It was a home prepared for a return that never happened. The chilling reality settled in. It looked as if Melissa planned to come right back with baby Jasmine. But she never did. As dawn broke after the disappearance, Akron police scrambled to build a timeline. Melissa didn't drive, no license, No shopping trips by car. That walk to the grocery store, 4 blocks away, it was one she took by necessity, not choice. Investigators canvassed the Westwood Avenue neighborhood. They knocked on doors, asked nearby residents if anyone saw the mother and baby duo after they stepped out that evening, but the answers all came back the same: no additional sightings. Some hoped Melissa might have run away again, a theory born of her past disappearance. But her mother shut that down firmly. My daughter wouldn't leave her baby behind. She wouldn't plan to go without telling someone. As the clock ticked on, leads faded. Then a single name surfaced: Raymond Sweet Pea Smith Jr., a convicted felon, known for drug abuse and violence, and a man who made Melissa uneasy. Melissa's fear and the timing made investigators sit up. Memories of a neighbor Melissa had been frightened of now took on new meaning. As investigators dug deeper, their focus turned to a troubling figure: Raymond Sweet Pea Smith Jr., a 37-year-old violent offender, staying in the same apartment building Melissa rented. He quickly emerged as a person of interest. Smith's criminal record was long, convictions ranging from drug offenses to aggravated assault and sexual misconduct. Melissa had told her mother she was scared of him and that he made unwanted advances, a fear she never took lightly. Smith claimed he saw Melissa and Jasmine leave that evening. But it wasn't just that. A neighbor later reported seeing him return days later wearing clothing stained in a way that looked like blood. By the time this claim reached investigators, the clothing was no longer available for testing. Disturbingly, case summaries indicate police did not interview Smith in connection with Melissa and Jasmine's disappearance. Not before, and sadly not after. Then tragedy struck. In February 1992, 6 months later, Smith died by suicide in the basement of his Raymond Street home. His only message: a note with the chilling 4 words, "To whom it may concern." And then everything went silent. There was no explanation, no confession, just an abrupt end to the most promising lead. With his death, the only person who might have answered questions became the question. The lead investigation slipped from the tangible into the void. Police lost their most obvious suspect forever. Without him, the case went icy. Yet the silence did not bring closure. It deepened suspicion and left an absence more chilling than any confession could have provided. In the years that followed, Melissa's mother remained in quiet agony, a mother left with unfinished prayers and no answers. She held on to hope, sharing Jasmine's birthmark and Melissa's scar, stating firmly that her daughter would never just walk away with her baby. Foul play became the only plausible conclusion. The case never officially closed. Akron police left it open, suspicious of what may have happened, but with no new leads, the trail went cold. Yet for Melissa's mother, and for the community, this wasn't closure, it was a wound left open. Akron itself remains unsettled by what occurred that night in August of 1991, a young mother and her baby vanishing into thin air from a place of everyday life. That sense of normalcy forever shifted. We must remember, Melissa was just 17 years old, a teen herself, trying her best to be a mother. And Jasmine? She never had the chance to grow. That emptiness echoes in every anniversary, every family dinner Melissa missed, every photo Jasmine never took. As we approach the end of this story, we're left confronting 3 main theories, none confirmed, all compelling. Theory 1. Raymond Sweet Pea Smith Jr., guilty. The most widely accepted theory points to Smith, who lived in the same building, terrified Melissa, had a violent criminal history, and was the last person to claim he saw Melissa and Jasmine leave. The case against him is strengthened by his direct link to the missing persons, Melissa's documented fear of him, and the potential physical evidence of his stained clothing. Days later, he allegedly returned with his clothing stained, possibly with blood. And yet, the official investigation never gained traction. Smith died by suicide 6 months later, with no formal questioning, no confession, and with that crucial piece of evidence, the stained clothing, never being tested, leaving no explanation but for the cryptic note, "To whom it may concern." Theory 2. Another unknown community member. It's possible someone else in the neighborhood or nearby was involved. A stranger, someone with access to the route between the apartment and the store. This opens up the possibility that the case wasn't just about Smith. Given the lack of surveillance and limited initial investigation, there's certainly space for someone else to have been involved. However, the theory remains entirely speculative, as there are no other named suspects, limited witness reports, or corroborated sightings to support it. Theory 3. Melissa fled voluntarily. Some have floated the idea that Melissa may have left of her own accord, which opens a less frightening possibility. But this clashes with overwhelming evidence to the contrary, as it directly contradicts her known behavior patterns and the evidence left behind. Nothing was taken, no personal items, no baby supplies, welfare checks uncashed, indicating she planned to return, not vanish. These three theories sit in tension. Smith's death removes the most direct human connection. A stranger theory remains speculative. And the runaway scenario, though technically possible, is undermined by how meticulously life appeared to be paused, not abandoned. Now, viewers, which makes the most sense to you? Smith acting alone? Someone else entirely? Or something else we haven't considered? The answers may lie in the gaps, the steps not retraced, the questions not asked. Now, decades later, we arrive at a chilling crossroad. The man closest to the story, Raymond Sweet Pea Smith Jr., left this world without explaining a thing, sealing his silence behind the words, "To whom it may concern." Did he take the truth with him when he died? Or is someone else still out there, carrying the answer to what really happened on that warm August night? Now it's your turn. Do you believe Raymond Sweet Pea Smith Jr. was responsible for the disappearance of Melissa and baby Jasmine, or could someone else know what really happened? Share your thoughts below. Keep the discussion respectful and focused. If you're drawn to deep dives into unsolved mysteries like this one, subscribe to Obscura True Crime. We honor the missing by telling their stories.